So originally I'm from California, and my name before I became a Buddhist nun was Kathy McDonald, and I was brought up a Catholic. My family was Catholic, and we went to church every Sunday. I went to Catholic schools. But when I was early teenager, I became dissatisfied. I didn't always find the answers I was looking for in Catholicism. I was really concerned about the world and all the suffering and war and poverty and injustice and so on. So I wondered, why is the world like this? Why is there so many problems? And so when I was a teenager, I started reading books about other religions, like Indian religions, Asian religions, and I just felt very attracted to them. And I was also very interested in Tibet and the Dalai Lama. So later, when I was in university, I started to learn more. I started to learn yoga and meditation and a bit more about Buddhism. And I felt this really strong wish to come to India.
We came to you because of this workshop that you are taking here right now. It's a peaceful living, peaceful dying.
Yes.
So why this, how this topic about death came, or why you are developing this workshop?
Right. Well, I was living in Singapore for 11 years during the 1990s, and working there mostly with Chinese people who were Buddhists. And I noticed that they seemed to have a lot of fear about death, and were not even comfortable talking about it, hearing about it. And yet it's such an important topic because we have friends and family who die, and if we don't prepare ourselves for death, we won't know what to do when it happens. So I decided to teach a workshop there.
I think one question that it's very simple but very important. Why people are afraid of dying?
Well, I think one reason is because we don't know what's going to happen. It's like going into the unknown. It's like you know, when a person dies, they close their eyes and they stop breathing, and the people who are left behind wonder, what happened to this person? Where did this person go? And also, before we die, when we think about dying, you know, we don't know, where are we going to go? What's going to happen to us? Do we just go out of existence, or do we go somewhere else? So it's like a big unknown. I think that's one reason it's frightening. And also because when we die, we leave everything behind. It's like we separate from our family and our friends and our house, our life, all the things that are familiar to us. It's like we leave all those behind. And most people don't want to do that.
Attachment,
right? They want to stay in there.
I remember in the first day of this workshop that you were talking about something related that how you have been living. It's related that how you maybe can die, no? Like there is one relationship. It is, or how we can confirm or how we can prove this, that if we have a good life, we will have a good death also. It's possible to affirm that?
Well, I'm not sure if any scientific research has been done on that subject, but it seems to be an idea that's found in religious and spiritual traditions, Buddhism and so on, that they all have this idea that we need to live a good life, and if we live a good life, we will be able to die peacefully and go to the next place, wherever it is, in a good way. So that's a belief that's found in spiritual traditions, religions. Like I said, I don't know if it's actually been studied and researched to find out if it's true or not. But I talked about my experience with my mother and how I was with her the last 3 weeks of her life up until her last breath. And I was really amazed at how calm and peaceful she was, and she wasn't afraid, upset, unhappy, attached. She was so calm and peaceful. And I really think it was because of the way she lived her life, because she'd been a really good person, a loving person, and a religious person. She believed in God and really felt that God was going to take care of her, so she had nothing to worry about, nothing to fear. And I've heard other stories as well of people who did religious or spiritual practice during their life and were good people, and at the time of death they were able to remain relatively calm and peaceful. So it seems to be.
For example, in this, I'm trying to imagine that situation. No, if I am in the middle of one accident, my nature, and now speaking up in a personal way, no, like my nature will be maybe praying, because that happened. For example, in flights, when I am in a flight and starting with some, I am starting to pray also, but my prayers are asking for survive. I'm not like preparing for dying or something. So this is, if you are going to die anyways, but if still you are praying for survive, this is good or it's not good, because you are keeping your mind with so much attachment. No, I'm feeling like that. So, or what do you think?
Well, at least you're praying. At least you're thinking of whoever you pray to, God or Jesus or Mary, I don't know. But you're making, your mind is connecting with some divine, holy person or figure. So I think that is really helpful. Rather than, I mean, some people might just get angry or just frightened or start swearing or, you know,
Right.
that wouldn't be a very good thing to be doing with their mind. But, you know, even if you're praying, oh, please, you know, don't let me die right now. At least you are connecting with someone.
Instead to be anger or something. Last question, what about the family or relatives or friends of the person who died? What is the best for them? What they have to do in that case to avoid more maybe suffering for the person who is dead? Or
Yeah, what is recommended is that they try to keep the atmosphere peaceful and quiet, not make a lot of noise, like wailing and crying and sobbing and, you know, trying to hold on to the person and saying, don't leave, we don't want you to go.
Right, this is
that's not
correct.
good. No, it will interfere with the person's ability to die peacefully. So it's best to try to keep calm and quiet, and also not even to touch the body. Once the breathing has stopped, just leave the body alone and not touch it until there's certain signs that indicate when the mind has actually left. And this could be hours or even days after the breathing has stopped. The mind is still there in the body. And so they say just leave the body undisturbed as much as possible. It's a little tricky in the West because if the person is in a hospital, usually the hospital wants to take the body away. But I know some people, some friends who were able to, like the person died at home, and they were able to just leave the body undisturbed even for a couple of days. They just didn't, you know, call the authorities, and they were able to keep the body until, you know, the signs of death occurred, and then they took it away. So that's, there's a whole sort of procedure, which I'm going to be talking more about tonight, for how to help someone who's dying in the best possible way, to maximize their opportunity to have a peaceful death and then a good rebirth, a good journey to the next life.
Something else you want to add? Something that you think is missed that is very important that you want to share with people? Doesn't have the opportunity maybe to attend any workshop like this, or they have a relative who is right now in a situation that maybe can die or something. What would you like to add?
Well, like I mentioned last night, my teacher, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, says that the best state of mind to have at the time of death is feeling love, feeling compassion, caring about others, and not being so absorbed with oneself. So if we ourselves can work on becoming familiar with those states of mind of love and compassion, then that will enable us to be in those states of mind when we die. And if we're with someone else who's dying, if we can try to find ways of helping them to also be in a more positive state of mind, not so angry or anxious or upset about what's happening, but try to be accepting of it and so on. I mean, I've heard lots of stories of people who've died, and even on their own, they were able to be in a positive state of mind. Maybe partly because they were religious, they were spiritual people, spiritual practitioners, and they just had this kind of wisdom that enabled them to be in a good state of mind, accepting that they're dying and being positive about it and being loving and caring. So it does happen. It does happen. So anyway, the idea, the goal in Buddhism would be to try to have that state of mind yourself when you're dying, and then if you can, help others to have that state of mind when they are dying. So that's the best case scenario.